Wisdom shines in talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi. My comments bring this profound wisdom into your experience. I'm Richard. Welcome. I'm reviewing and commenting on the book Talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi. Today is from Talk 251. Questioner: how shall I reach the self? Maharshi: there is no reaching the self. If the self were to be reached, it would mean that the self is not now and here, but that it should be got anew. What is got afresh will also be lost, so it will be impermanent. What is not permanent is not worth striving for. So I say the self is not reached. You are the self. You are already that. The fact is that you are ignorant of your blissful state. Ignorance supervenes and draws a veil over the pure bliss. Attempts are directed only to remove this ignorance. This ignorance consists in wrong knowledge. The wrong knowledge consists in the false identification of the self with the body, the mind, and so forth. This false identity must go, and there remains the self. Questioner: how is that to happen? Maharshi: by inquiry into the self. Questioner: it is difficult. Can I realize the self, Maharaj? Kindly tell me. It looks so difficult. Maharshi: you are already the self. Therefore, realization is common to everyone. Realization knows no difference in the aspirants. This very doubt, can I realize, or the feeling I have not realized, are the obstacles. Be free from these also. This dialogue explores the profound simplicity of self-inquiry. The exchange captures the essence of Advaita Vedanta and Ramana Maharshi's teachings. In this dialogue, the questioner is earnestly asking how to reach the self. Ramana Maharshi responds with a powerful teaching. He dismisses the idea of reaching the self, emphasizing that the self is not something to be attained anew. It is not distant or separate from you. It is who and what you are. Maharshi says, you are the self. You are already that. This cuts through the illusion of separateness, challenging the conventional idea of seeking something external. Ramana then talks of the impermanence of anything that can be gotten anew, stating that if the self were to be something to be newly reached, since everything that has a beginning also has an end, it would be impermanent and therefore not worth striving for. Ramana says that only what is always there is worth striving for. This makes sense. Why try to gain something that you will just lose later on? Turn your attention instead to what is always. Ramana directs attention to the inward state, the innate state of being, the self that is already present. The only hindrance to knowing the self is ignorance. Ignorance, according to Maharshi, is the veil that shrouds the pure bliss of the self. This ignorance is rooted in wrong ideas, all based on the false identification of the self with the body and mind. Realization, therefore, is not about attaining something new, but about removing this ignorance, dismantling the false identity. The questioner, in their next question, expresses their difficulty with realization. Maharshi responds with a profound reassurance. He states that realization is for everyone because everyone is already the self. The obstacles lie in doubts and feelings of not having realized. Maharshi advises being free from these doubts, saying that the very doubt of "can I realize?" is an obstacle itself. The solution, says Ramana, is simple yet profound: inquiry into the self. By questioning and investigating the nature of the self, you can dispel the false identifications and realize the inherent truth. Anything that comes and goes is not the self. Anything you can think of is not the self. Anything that is objective, that is known by you, is not the self. Dive into what remains. This dialogue encapsulates the core of Ramana Maharshi's teachings, emphasizing the immediacy of self-realization and the necessity of self-inquiry to dispel ignorance and false ideas about your identity. It's an invitation to recognize that what you seek and the one that is seeking are one and the same. So inquire, know yourself, and be always free and at peace. These videos bring Ramana's teachings into your direct experience. Click subscribe to see more. Click thumbs up to like, and send questions and start a dialogue with a comment.